then Polshek Partners, which was about 135, but I'm sure it's ballooned more than that at this point. And then a very tiny and fun $300,000 project with White Columns and moving them to their current location. So I'm going to lob the first question out to our panel, but I see the two microphones on the sides, and I hope you'll take this opportunity, since so many of you are involved or have finished the process, to throw questions at us. And then, because we have this fantastic resource here. And the first question is for Jim and Elliot. And since Debbie, is going through the process, what is the best advice you can give her?
Take that too.
Get out. No.
Yeah.
What is the best advice? Well, yeah, it's hard not to mention Renzo-specific things, but you know, I think, and it's hard not to, I saw some of your images and I'm thinking, get rid of the shades, get rid of the shades. I think, you know, one of the really good things with working with a great architect, and I think everybody up here has, is being open to their ideas. I think I accepted early in our process that sometimes you actually give up it's right and it's okay to give up program to make the building better. And I think it's sometimes we forget that, you know, the visitors experience the whole thing, right? So it's at least as important to have a great building, a great product in the end, the whole thing, as it is for, you know, geez, we really wanted 9 geothermal wells and we're only getting 7, you know. I think sometimes you get so so attached to some pieces of the program that you let them get in the way sometimes of the architecture, which is very important. The architecture is very important.
I think I would just say, Debbie, as you're heading into the interpretive phase, you know, if any of you are hikers out there, you know, the climb is always steeper at the top, so you have to really maintain your stamina. But I think for the interpretation, we ended up with a new head of education who'd been here for many years, Barbara Martin, the Alfond Curator of Education. So we wanted to be sure that the building that was new had as much new technology also, but in a way that was sensitive to the installations that had already been ongoing for so many years. And I think there, we just felt, you know, time was going to be short. We had sort of last 2 years, like you do, to get all that together. And in the meantime, on another track, we were doing a big book. The book we used that was not really a catalog, but that had to be ready. And our curatorial in Art of the Americas, 6,500 labels written more than 3 or 4 times and reread and revised. So a multimedia hand guide, the behind-the-scenes galleries, the book. And I think you just have to really say that all of that interpretation is really a work in progress, because we're still adding to it, and it's easy to add with technology, fortunately. But I think to just remind yourself that these are new spaces and new opportunities to try things, and when you open, you know, take it that way, and you're going to revise it as it goes forward.
I wonder if you can speak a little bit to the value of value engineering. And one of the things that we came across in St. Louis was, you know, trying to make the budget and trying to save money. Our HVAC system, we went with what we thought was, you know, the best at that level. And it turned out 2 years later, we ended up replacing it with what the architect recommended in the first place, because it wasn't good enough. And then also, we immediately cut out all the shades in the gallery because, you know, to cut costs. And then we ended up putting in shades afterwards, which, you know, double the cost because it wasn't done during the construction.
You know, so much of that, in my opinion, rests with the architect. I think if they do their job well, the necessity for value engineering goes way down. You know, it's hard to leave one of these projects without a lot of great Renzo quotes. He said that, I get it. I only will pay 100 euros for a pair of shoes, he said. So, you know, our board member once said, this project is, hard costs are not going over $100 million. And I think if you have some fixed rules about those things, recognizing that the MFA and Harvard might have a few more resources than we do, I think if you put the onus on the architect, they should be able to pull that off for you.
I think in our case, the hard part is curatorial voices are often not included in that value engineering discussion, but are often subjected to the end result. So I would say, we spent a lot of time discussing where the grid for electricity would be all over this building and the Art of the Americas wing, and in the end, the grid system was value engineered out. And so therefore, cases that had been long in planning with Foster had a hard route to get lit. And same things, hanging on walls, large objects in some of the foyers, the value engineering took away the reinforcement for the wall. So again, I mean, I think it's really helpful if for communication's sake, curators are well aware of what has been value engineered out. And of course, we did have 4 general contractors, and part of this gap was owing to the different contractors, I think, so.
For all 3 of you, how early on were the curators brought in to add their inputs?
I mean, in our project, the curators were part of the equation from the beginning, and also, as I alluded, it had been such a multi-project. We first hired Renzo to renovate 32 Quincy Street, build a bridge to the Sackler. Then there was a project where he was building 2 museums on the Charles River, and now this. So he had known our project for a very long time, but both Jim Cuno and Tom Lentz, both of the directors I've worked under, have felt as if, and have always described